Hi everyone, it is time for a second picture from this book, Colours of Christmas by Nikolett Delafraye. I'm not sure if I said enough about the book yesterday in the first video of the series, but I do have a flip through of it. It's a lovely book, and we are going to do our next Christmas in July cupcake. Now I do have a very similar cupcake colouring video of one by Johanna Basford from Small Victories, where there is a cupcake with stars on, but we're going to do this one. Now I'm having a little look, thinking about what I can do to make it look a little bit more Christmassy, and I thought maybe I could do the case in gold and silver stripes, but we did do plenty of gold and silver yesterday, and so maybe we'll change it up a bit. Maybe we'll do a really different colour to this. I'm just thinking it through now. Sometimes Christmas themes can have a bit of purple and pink, and that can be quite festive. Purple, pink and silver. So maybe we'll do that. That'll be a bit different, and that would look completely different to this one. So we're using Polychromos. I'm going to start with the mauve, and I'm going to try to make these stripes look shiny, sort of metallic. I'm just having a look at them and trying to think of the best way. I think what I'm going to do is treat each one individually and put the shine in the centre. So by the time we finish, the shine, like this sort of shiny bit here, will go through there. Okay, just because I think it's a little bit easier. So I'm going to start on this corner, and all we need to do is put a really dark layer right in the corner here, and then reduce how much we've put down. So lots there right on the edge, and then less, and basically we want the tiniest white bit left in the centre. It's quite difficult to do on this really small piece, but as we move through. Now my next decision is, do I go pink, purple, pink, silver, purple, pink, silver, purple, pink, silver? That'll go nicely. Yes, so my next colour is a pink, and I've got to look at my swatch chart and decide which sort of pink to do. I want quite a deep pink, and I'm wondering whether, I'm looking at my swatch chart here, let me put it here so I can show you as I ponder. So I'm wondering whether this middle purple pink looks quite nice, intense and festive, and it'll go quite nicely with the purple, so I think I'm going to do that rather than these pinks, which I think are a little bit milky and they're not going to look so shiny. It's going to be harder to make them look metallic, especially this one. I couldn't do it very well with this one. And the pinks over here, these are very too salmony, I think. So I just realised my fingernails are a bit dirty, sorry. I was gardening last night. Middle purple pink without any gloves on. Well, the weeds just keep growing. Now it's really, really hot weather at the moment. We're in the middle of a heat wave, and the plants in the garden are looking quite parched. To keep watering to try and keep them going, and yet the weeds, they just seem quite happy to keep growing regardless. I guess that's the truth all gardeners find. You see, this is going to come across here. Now I'm going to do silver. Use a grey. You want a cold grey. I think the cold grey 3, maybe 4. I'm going to try the 3 if it's a bit too pale. Now you notice I'm only using one colour. I think it's probably enough. But I might find this grey is a bit pale, but I'm going to try and fade it. Now, to fade it, you layer it up more here. Can you see I'm going back and forth a lot? Here a bit less. And as I come down here, I'm doing less and less layers. And as I come towards this bit, I'm actually pressing lighter. Now, pressing lightly can be quite difficult. You might want to just switch down to a lower number, so you could switch down to a 3 or a 2. Now we're going back to our mauve. I think when I first started colouring, I did press too light, so pressing lightly was easy, but as my muscles are built up, I find it much easier to press harder, and I've been trying to do more vibrant work lately, and some of you have noticed and commented on it actually, and to do that I tend to press a little bit harder, but you have to be very careful because you don't want to spoil your paper. I'm just checking. Ooh, didn't mean to draw there. We're still in line. We are. That was a bit too hard. So yes, do be careful that you're not pressing so hard that you spoil your paper. It is better to build up layers, but I don't always have the patience. I'm just going to get my eraser because I made that little mark that I didn't mean to. There we go. Now this eraser, oh sorry, that wasn't a very nice noise, is a Tombow Mono Zero. Sometimes people ask me what I use. I just had a paranoid look at my, I just want to lighten that a tad there, at my microphone because it's flashing, but it's actually just charging little purple pink, and it's fine, it can run off the main, but sometimes when it flashes it's not working. But I did test it before I started recording, but you know, so this bit can last a bit longer before we start to reduce the colour down. If you're in doubt, do it lighter. It's easier to build up colour than it is to take it away. And now we're gently reducing it here. You have to sort of try and get the angle as well, I feel. If you've got these sort of lines where I'm colouring in an up and down, I don't know, it seems to match. We're sort of going to end up going down there, I think, our angle. But I don't think that matters. As long as it all lines up, it then works, in my opinion. There we go. So now we're on to silver. I nearly picked up the mauve. That would have been fun. Oh, it's so warm at the moment. Although even though it was 17 degrees last night in the coldest part of the night. But I did manage to sleep, but I was pretty exhausted, to be honest. The heat is exhausting, but also other things going on. So it was good that I slept well anyway. I think the fact that almost everyone was at home today helped. My son was supposed to go out for a driving lesson, but that's been cancelled. So in fact, we're all at home, so it's nice. This is mauve. But that wasn't the original plan, but that was fine. And he didn't have to be up particularly early, so it was all good. But I went out first thing before, I thought I'd go out before it gets too sunny. It was cloudy actually when I know I'm using a different technique. It's just easier for the angle, because otherwise I'll have to do this and you won't see what I'm doing. So by the time I was ready, time got on a bit, because I got up, I waited for my son to wake up, but I slept in a bit anyway. It was fine, he wasn't that. But I got up and the kitchen looked like a disaster area. So I cleaned it all and sat the dishwasher and tidied it all up before I made my breakfast. And then of course I made my coffee first. I had to wait for that to cool as well before I could drink it. And then I had to wait for my husband to get up so I could tell him I was going out and see if he wanted anything from the shop. And I went out and the sun decided to come out, but it was fine. I had my hat on, little purple pink, it wasn't that warm. So in fact it was quite breezy, and it was well worth it because I saw a heron sitting on the fence along the canal, just looking for fish, I guess. I took a few photos, sent them to my husband. He said, "I hope you aren't its breakfast." They aren't that big. They are quite big, but not that big. So that was rather nice. Now we're going back to the silvery colour. For the last one, I think it has worked out quite well. There we go. Now have a look at yours and see if you feel you want to darken any areas or lighten. You can run a rubber eraser across this bit to lighten it a little bit if you feel it needs it or whatever. I'm sticking mine. I've just realised the line goes here and then up there. Do you see? They don't line up. I think it would if I moved this one up a bit. So what I'm going to do with my eraser is just rub out that bit there. And then redo it. so that fades there, and that just comes down there a little bit. There we go. I think, I don't know if I've improved that, to be honest. Anyway, I'm going to leave it. Okay, so now we have the main cupcake, and we've got to make some decisions about this. How are we going to do these stars? Are we going to do them in silver? Are we going to do them in one of the other colours? I'm going to do them in silver, and I think I'm going to make a better effort with the silver than I did just with the one colour here. I'm going to use a few colours in our stars, and with the icing I think I'm going to do it in two shades, a pink and a purple, but a lighter, more pastel-y. We don't really have pastel tones, but we can try. So I'm going to start with a darker grey, so we're going to use the cold grey 5 and do the points of the stars. So I'm going to go quite dark into that corner and then sort of fade it out a bit on each of them. There we go. Oh, my husband's just sorted the washing for me. It's good. He puts, there's some going in the dryer. I know it's really hot. I should be putting it in the garden, but our solar panels will power the dryer, and because it's sunny, and I need them that washing quite quickly. So yeah, sometimes needs must, as they say. But anyway, he sorted that for me, so that's good news. Yes, so the heron was sitting there very closely observing the water, obviously looking for some breakfast. I'm grabbing the cold grey 4. I do need to sharpen it. Oh, there's the sharpener. I've tidied it away. I mean, goodness me, what was I thinking? So, cold grey 4. So, yes, he was a very scruffy looking heron. They often are though, sort of around the neck and chest, really scruffy looking feathers. Don't he's molting. I don't know, but he looked really scruffy. But I took a few photos of him, as I say. I can't zoom in with my phone camera. I don't know if you can with most phone cameras or not, but mine you can't. If you can, but it just produces a grainy looking picture, so I didn't bother. Yeah, and I also there's a little picnic spot just as you come off the canal path. This is back to the cold grey 3 that we were using down here. There was a load of rubbish around it where someone had had a picnic and either chucked it on the floor or just left it and it had blown on the floor, and it made me cross. And I thought to myself, just pick it up. Don't let it make other people cross by leaving it there. So I picked it up, and there's a bin really close, you know. And so I popped it in the bin. I'd also already seen an empty Coke bottle before I got to there, which made me cross too. But I didn't pick that one up because I didn't really think about it. So I picked up, I'm sharpening my cold grey 2, by the way, and put it in the bin. So I felt like I'd done a good deed, made me feel good. And then I got to the supermarket, and the trolley that I chose was broken, and some of the metal pieces had been cut or snapped, I don't quite know, and they would look sharp. And I said to a guy, there was a guy sorting out in the porch, they have flowers in the porch area of the supermarket. I said to him, look, this is broken, and he bent it back. I said, I'm just worried someone might hurt themselves. He bent it back, so that's fine. And then he said, oh look, it's even worse on the other side. He said, look, I'll get you a new trolley. And I said, don't worry, I can just use a basket. I didn't really need a trolley, but he said he would put it by so no one got hurt on it. So there, I did another good deed. It makes you feel good, you know, it's nice. And saying hello to a few people, having a natter to the person on the till. Now I'm leaving a bit of white in the middle, and I think that helps them look shiny, but I'm not going to leave it here. I will add something else to them at the end to enhance that shiny look. There are different options. I'll talk them through with you at the end, but we're going to do the icing first. Now, I showed you before the colours. I'm going to use this light magenta, which is sort of quite milky. I think it works quite well for icing, but also the violet, which is our lightest purple. So I'm just just going to grab those two colours, make sure I get the right one. There we go. I think I'll start with the light magenta. Now what I'm going to do to start with is just put a really light layer on. Now I'm not even sharpening it because it's easier when it's blunt to get a lighter layer, I find, because when it's sharp, the point of the pencil, look, it's really smudged here, this cake, anyway, and the point of the pencil pushes right into the paper and makes it darker. Now I'm going to make it a little bit darker along the bottom here and then fade that off quite rapidly, as I think it might be sort of just shadowed at the bottom, but it's not going to be like shiny in the way that because it's buttercream, like that. Now there might also be shadow on the top here from the layer above, so we'll just put a little bit here, and it might help to emphasize the shape of that sort of blob of icing. And then this one, so much buttercream on cupcakes. I don't know how people, I used to actually, to be honest, I would eat loads. I used to love it, and if I made it and had any left, I would just eat it. But nowadays I'm just so not used to it. I don't eat butter anymore because it doesn't suit me, not for any other reason. I mean, it isn't the healthiest thing, is it? But I think if I tried to have it now, apart from the fact that it would make me feel pretty ill, but the next day, just putting a little bit here, look. I think I would just find it way too rich. So here's our violet now. This can be quite a dark colour. I do need to be careful. See how I'm holding the pencil on the side, which gives us a lighter touch, I find, and a bit further down. If you want it hard, you do that. If you want it light, you do that. Now some people do light layers all the time and just slowly build up layers, and their work looks amazing, almost completely flawless. But unfortunately, or maybe not, I don't know, I just don't have the patience for that. So I don't. But yeah, this doesn't feel quite so Christmassy, this one. Yeah, as I say, these could be Christmassy colours, but it's just nice to do. I didn't want it the same because I need to think of different palettes, because I feel like this one is behind and there isn't a shadow here. I feel like this bit is behind. I'm going to leave that there and we'll do the top bit. Yeah, I feel like I want to mix up the palettes a little bit. And also, it isn't actually Christmas. Is it not? It's nice to be thinking about it though. Although I've got a few birthdays. I've got my husband's birthday first, then my boy's birthday. Right, we're going to do a few touches before we finish. There are lines and things in the buttercream. Now, buttercream does tend to not be completely flat, but I'm not really sure how to do those. So I think I'm going to leave that. It's the stars that I'm going to play with. Now, there's a selection of things that we could add to these stars to make them look more shiny. I'll show you a few and then I'll tell you which one I'm going to do. So here's my box of goodies. So I've got this. This is a pan pastel, as you can see, and it is a white fine pearl medium. And when you apply it to things, it gives, you can see slightly, it gives them this sort of pearlescent shine when it catches the light. So that's one option. Another option are these diamond stickles. They make everything really shiny. I mean, I've got other colours. I've got a silver, which you could just use as well. But again, I'm not going to use those. It's just an idea. Oh, ching ching. Hang on. Oh. Oh. I just dropped my remote control on the floor and everything went a bit haywire. Right, I knocked it with my elbow. So we have Jelly Roll Metallics Silver or Stardust. silver. Now what I would do, I'm going to show you with the silver Stardust pen, which is nearly run out, is I'm just going to go around the edge with this, not do the whole thing. But the final idea that I had was that you could use a plain glitter pen. The Sakura 700 is one of those. I'm sure that other brands make them as well. I just don't know about that. I know actually there was one in Castle Arts, do a set of gel pens, and there was one in there. There we go. So we got, just add a little bit of sparkle just to the outside. You could do over the whole thing, but obviously it would hide the silvery effect that you've tried to produce. And I'm wondering whether I should put a little bit of shadow under each of these, because they're just, I guess they're pressed into the, like this, into the buttercream. So there might be a shadow around them. I'm going to try, although I put that on, so I'm going to be risking it. So this is the violet, so I'm going to put a bit under here. Like that. I think that's just sort of pressed into there. And a bit under here. So we can just use a few more layers. Really should have done this first, but hey ho. I think that's all for that one. And then a bit of the pink. I'm going to have to sharpen it. The light magenta, sorry, pink. Light magenta. And just a little bit under there. There we go. It's not particularly dark. The idea is that I don't want it to be really dark, and I don't know if it makes a huge difference. But there is our next one done. So that is the next one. I'm already looking ahead to the one after, thinking, how can I make that not red and white? But I think I might. We'll see. I'll have a think. But anyway, that one is a little bit of a different colour. So maybe we'll just do one each row a little bit different. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and happy colouring.